And we're live. Greetings, friends. Welcome to Movie Night. Tonight we are watching Terminator Salvation from 2009. Not a great movie, to be honest. It is kind of a mess. But if you love the franchise, if you love robots, science fiction, Christian Bale, I think you will enjoy it. I had the idea of watching a movie from this century because so far, to be honest, movie nights have not been the most popular of the Super Antonio live streams, which is regrettable because I love movies and I want to share that passion with you. I've shown you a bunch of great movies, and now tonight I am going to show you an uneven movie, a mediocre movie. But it still has some good elements. It's still entertaining. It's worth a watch. I've only seen it once, so this will be my second viewing. We'll wait for some more people to show up in the chat before we get started. How is everyone? How is everyone tonight? Did you happen to see the 11-hour video I posted? The complete cutscenes of Red Dead Redemption 2 in black and white. It's ridiculous how long it is. It took forever to upload it. It's basically the entire Lord of the Rings extended edition. 11 hours and change. Or an entire season of TV. It's ridiculous how long it is. But I think, people will have it on in the background and use it in just like radio. Have it on while they're doing homework or chores or cleaning the bedroom, dishes. That's how I envision it, or rather, optimally playing this game. How's everyone tonight? Happy Saturday. Who's here? Come say hello. Unless you are unsubscribed, and regrettably, you cannot chat. And for that, I apologize, friends. I really do. But we were having a troll problem, and this seemed like the best way to combat that. Miko Herptile, greetings, friend. Miko's in the chat. He says, "Hey, Super Antonio, hello everyone. Happy weekends. We will be listening in the background. Today is house cleaning day." Well, I'm happy to have you here, Miko. Appreciate you, friend. Terminator Salvation stars Christian Bale, Sam Worthington. O-Dog's in the house. Welcome, O-Dog. Great to see you, friend. How are you doing? Bryce Dallas Howard, Ron Howard's daughter. She's really the only breakout star from the movie. Helena Bonham Carter is in it. You may know her as Bellatrix Lestrange and the ex-Mrs. Tim Burton. Bunch of other actors. It's not a great movie. They tried to reboot the franchise without Arnold, even though there is a tiny Arnold cameo / Easter egg in the movie. It's not great, but it's there. Directed by Mick G. He's most famous for the Charlie's Angels franchise. The early Charlie's Angels, not the remake, the ones with Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu, who I've always loved. O-Dog, how are you, friend? How's your weekend going? The movie, as always, is in the description of this video. I want you to open it up in another channel, in another window, and then you can watch it and listen to me. Or you can just listen to me and watch this Red Dead Redemption 2 footage in black and white. We Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead 1 update, we are at 67% transitioned to John. John looks so much like his old man. I like him. I like him a lot. It was kind of sad to see the end of those two, John and Abigail. But, you know, it's only at 67%. And I envisioned John going to the end of the game, and then post-game or epilogue, we would do Jack. I didn't realize it was so soon. Odog says, good, tired, busy, not going to make it long. A lady friend just sent an invite to play GTA. Well, friend, I appreciate you being here, but, you know, your social life comes first. But you can leave us on in the background. We'll keep you company. I'll be your wingman, Odog. I'm happy to do that for you, friend. Well, if everyone's ready, I will start the movie. Right now. It's Warner Brothers. This movie came out in 2009 and is set in 2018. So all of these events have already happened. Let's see if you remember them. Sam Worthington, you may recall, was Jake Sully in Avatar. And coincidentally by James Cameron, the writer and director of the first two Terminators. They have the iconic music. It should have worked. The first problem with this movie, besides it being directed by Micah G., is that Christian Bale is the star, or receives star billing, but he is not the star of the movie. Sam Worthington. It's Sam Worthington's movie. It's Sam Worthington's story. But Christian Bale plays John Connor, and that was enough to bring everyone in to the theater. But you spend most of the movie wondering where, you know, like what's going on. When are we going to get back to John Connor? Common's in it. You may know him from Hell on Wheels. And Michael Ironside from a bunch of movies, including A Nightmare on Elm Street. You're at 144. Terminator Salvation. I don't know what the salvation part of the Terminator movie is. No one was really saved in this movie. So we open with Sam Worthington in jail, and he is talking to a mysterious doctor played by Helena Bonham Carter, who happens to be bald because she's going through chemo. And spoiler alert, she's technically part of Skynet. The worst part of this movie is they canceled the Sarah Connor Chronicles on TV, starring Lena Headey, you know, Cersei from Game of Thrones, as Sarah Connor, and that was a great franchise reboot and TV series. They have 2 seasons, highly recommended, but they basically canceled it because they wanted to focus on this movie, and they thought that they could make a star out of Sam Worthington. For a long time, Sam Worthington they were trying to portray him as the next Christian Bale, the next Matt Damon, and he never really took off. He never really worked. He's in all the Avatar movies, so that helps. But he he didn't really live up to his promise. Cyberdyne Systems. Cyberdyne, as you know, he signs a release from Cyberdyne Systems, and Cyberdyne, as you know, created the Terminators, created Skynet. And at 4:10, Marcus, aka Sam Worthington, is up for lethal injection, the hot shot. Marcus Wright is his name. Don't worry, he is only sleeping and will wake up in the future. But again, we're 4 minutes in, and where's Christian Bale? Where's the star of this movie? Where's John Connor? Why are we watching this weirdo? This movie came out before Avatar, even though Avatar was the same year, and Avatar really took off for his career, and the box office. This movie just kind of vanished by the wayside. It's interesting from a historical perspective of the Terminator franchise, which doesn't really work with Arnold and didn't really work once Arnold aged out. I haven't even seen the last Terminator movie. I don't think I will. I don't think there's a way to resurrect this without using AI, which would be ironic. So we get a little exposition at 5:57, the war on humanity. Skynet, Terminators, John Connor, the key to salvation, false prophet. You don't really know. The year is 2018. Drone shot. Drones were hot in 2018, as you know. They're trying to take out Skynet. Missile inbound. It's not going to work. But it's always nice to start a movie with an explosion. And a broken T-800. Now, finally, during this battle scene at 6:52, we get to see John Connor, the leader of the resistance, the war against machines. Get a hero shot at John shooting a T-800 skull. And here's Batman. Here's Bruce Wayne as John Connor. Does a really cool rappel down into a missile silo. Stuntman, of course. And again, Christian Bale did his best. He's a professional, and he brings it when he comes to a movie. He's 100%. But I feel he was underutilized. Also, I feel the story was too complicated. Like the Emperor in Amadeus said, too many notes. So we're in a tunnel, Skynet headquarters, hunting Terminators. Blast open a door. I think they also released a video game concurrently with this movie. but I never played it. Didn't care. We are at 8:22. And they've come upon a Terminator human experimentation facility where, coincidentally, Sam Worthington, or Marcus Wright, is. John Connor lights a flare and says, "We have reached the objective." What objective? What could it be? Oh, it's a bunch of prisoners that need to be released. I bet you Kyle Reese is in here. Kyle Reese is played by Anton Yelchin. Sadly, he passed away under suspicious circumstances. They don't say it's suspicious. I mean, they say it's completely not suspicious, a freak accident, but it seems a little sketchy to me. I'm sure we don't know the whole story with Anton Yelchin. Anyways, he's Kyle Reese here, a young Kyle Reese. And they find the plans for the T-800, a new Terminator. Arnold was a T-800. Right now they only have T-600s, which have rubber skin. Kyle Reese talks about it in Terminator 1. The T-800s, as you recall, are harder to detect because they are clad in living and breathing cloned human skin. Christian Bale, to his credit, is in his prime. Very heroic. He does a great job as John Connor. He's very believable. However, again, this is a very complicated story, and it's not really John Connor's story. It's not really Christian Bale's story. It's Marcus Wright. So we were sort of tricked by the director and the writers. We're at 11:07. John Connor's taken off. Data transfer complete. Helicopter crash. I think he's going down again. I gotta say, the CGI in 2009 far better than modern CGI. The CGI in 2023 or 24. CGI has gone backwards. But the quality in this movie is like Lord of the Rings level. Fellowship of the Rings level of CGI, except during the robot apocalypse. Someone let off a nuke. Got a mushroom cloud in the background in 12:13. And a legless T-600. These guys were designed by Stan Winston, who designed the original Terminator. John Connor is getting thrown around. I believe one of the last projects that Stan Winston worked on. Hollywood legend. And John Connor finally defeats the broken T-600. Gets back on the radio. He has that gravelly Bruce Wayne Batman voice. And regrettably, he is the only survivor. He walks off to the extraction point at 1338, and that's the last we're going to see of him for a while. Because, again, there was a bait and switch. This is not Christian Bale's movie. This is Sam Worthington's movie, who nobody had heard of, and regrettably is not a big enough or a charismatic enough actor to carry this movie. Sam Worthington emerges in the rain, nude, covered in mud, screaming, with no memory of who he is or how he got there. It's a rebirth of a sort. And a commercial. First things first, we got to find some clothes. It's kind of set up like a video game. You know, you got to find some clothes, you got to get some weapons, you got to figure out what you are, who you are, and what your mission is. John Connor is going to command in a helicopter. He's going to meet Michael Ironside. We are at 1454. Back to Marcus Wright in the rain. He's got clothes. This exists in the same universe and canon as the Sarah Connor Chronicles, which I highly recommend. There's 2 seasons of that, and it proved that that the Terminator franchise could work without Arnold. John Connor free dives into the ocean and lands on top of Resistance Command Headquarters, which is a submarine. It's a movie. Michael Ironside, Hollywood legend. He's been in so many movies. He was also in. He was also the bad guy in another Arnold movie, Total Recall. Legendary Hollywood hardman villain with a very iconic gravelly voice. Michael Ironside is looking for the off switch to Skynet. He's got a virus to upload. John Connor volunteers for the mission. Of course he does. He's a hero. And at 1727, this is the most spacious submarine I've ever seen in my life. Looks more like an aircraft carrier. I'm being sarcastic, of course. And John Connor becomes aware of a Skynet kill Reese that he is number 2 on. Who is number 1, he asked. And the officer says, some civilian. His name is Kyle Reese. And the look of the movie really echoes the first Terminator. Here's Common at 1843. One of the resistance fighters. Didn't even remember that he was in this movie. But, you know, humanity has been driven underground. Here's Bryce Dallas Howard as John Connor's girlfriend. Not really a redhead, more of a brunette in this movie. And we are back at 1915 to Marcus in the desert. He finds a highway covered in sand and decides to follow it. John Connor is listening to Sarah Connor's voice on tape. Linda Hamilton cameo. And you get the iconic Polaroid of Linda Hamilton from Terminator 1. He's going to give that picture to Kyle Reese. Not, I believe, in this movie, if I recall. The first movie worked because it was essentially a romance with action and time travel. It had a little bit of everything for the boys and the girls. And it had Arnold. It was the breakout movie for Arnold. It made him a star. Ironically, originally Arnold was supposed to be cast as Kyle Reese. And you'll never believe who they considered for the Terminator. OJ. But Arnold read the script and was like, I want to be the Terminator. And of course they just said, okay. And the rest is history. Kyle has made it probably to LA, or not Kyle. Marcus has made it to LA, just this burnt out dystopian. He sees a figure in the distance, assumes it's human, and yells and calls out to it. We are at 2153, and this is the time we get to see the T-600 up close. He is saved by Kyle Reese, who will say the iconic words, the iconic sentence, "Come with me if you want to live." The T-600 walks into a trap and is currently upside down on a steel cable. Still fighting though, still shooting. So Kyle says, "Come with me if you want to live." The T-600 shoots off his foot so he can get out of that and he can continue on. And then at 2308, we get this really cute mute girl. They communicate with sign language, and she drops a car on the T-600. It's pretty funny. Who knew that the T600 would be standing exactly there? Very convenient. Kyle Reese is he's a teen. And a resistance fighter. Marcus is just trying to get up to speed with where he is and what year it is and what has happened. So he's lost 9 years, basically. (2439) What happened here? Judgment Day happened. And now here comes the hunter killer. Those were like the drones of. They had them in Terminator 1, but they were very shiny and chrome-like, much like the T-800. And here they're all like grimy and gritty. And that little girl was played by, what's her name here? I'm looking her up. Jada Grace Berry as Star. Born after Judgment Day, to quote Wikipedia, Star is mute due to trauma of the post-apocalyptic world. Therefore, this has given her the unnatural ability to sense when a Skynet unit is approaching. And she's a singer now, but hasn't really made any movies after this. Or her career took a different trajectory. Now we're back at Resistance HQ with John Connor, and they have like a Terminator eel snake thing with a hand thing. It's just, and they're going to try the virus on it. The signal, actually. And they turned it off. And regrettably, the signal has to be continuous. If it's interrupted, the machine turns on again. Back to Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles, which is destroyed and overrun with vegetation, very Planet of the Apes or Logan's Run. Looking for transport. I don't know where Marcus wants to go, but he wants to leave. They're eating coyote jerky. And at 27:43, Marcus shows Kyle how to make a sling for his sawed-off shotgun, which he will use in Terminator 1. Another nice Easter egg. or nod to the original. They tried. They really tried with this movie. The writers had obviously seen and loved the original Terminator. It was just too many diverse elements that never coalesced. And Sam Worthington wasn't a big enough or charismatic enough to be a star, and Anton Yelchin wasn't believable as Kyle Reese, or he just didn't make a good Kyle Reese. But again, he was very popular at the time. So, miscastings, poor direction, too many writers, too many producers, and a commercial. Back to the movie at 29:10. John Connor is the voice of the Resistance. He's talking on the radio in his Batman voice, telling everyone that you are not alone. They hear John Connor on the radio. They don't know who it is, but he's offering encouragement and strategies on how to defeat the T-600. They're vulnerable at the base of the neck, and they're slow. He also says Skynet is planning something big, but the Resistance is planning something bigger. This is John Connor. If you're listening to this, you are the Resistance. It's a pretty cool line. It's probably my favorite line in the movie. Now they have a mission, Kyle and Marcus. They're going to search for John Connor. Coincidentally, John Connor is searching for Kyle Reese. Marcus wants to head north, back to San Francisco, which is Skynet Central, searching for someone. Doesn't tell Kyle who. At 3217, they get the motor running, and it turns into a road trip. Looks like Marcus is abandoning us. Kyle and Star. He's not. It's artificial tension that you don't really need. And here comes a Skynet drone. They're all targeted, so they have to take off on this Jeep that seems to be working adequately. Back on the road, as I recall, there are like these Terminator motorcycles that kind of look like bat pods. Kyle Reese has identified Skynet knows his exact location now. The drone takes off, and the Terminator bat pods will be released, I believe. As I recall, handbrake turn. We are at 3420. Back to John Connor. They're monitoring enemy movement in LA. But they don't know that it's Kyle and Marcus and Star. The Resistance still has airplanes. So they come to an abandoned 7-Eleven or gas station or something at 3503. Much like the zombie apocalypse, the robot apocalypse is all about scavenging for supplies. Everything's picked over. There's less humanity, but there's also less supplies. Yeah, it is an old 7-Eleven. Looking for shelter for the night, one would assume. Kyle sees a milk bottle. There's refrigeration. How are they still getting fresh milk? And they come up against a horde of armed civilians. These guys do not want to share. These guys are not resistance. They don't want to share. They don't want to fight. But they will give him some food and supplies because they like the little one. They like Star, and as always, they live underground. So they come up with a basket of fresh vegetables, and Star eats a carrot. I need to get carrots for this one. So they're still growing crops somewhere. Kyle has a Twinkie. There's still Twinkies. And here come the machines, grabbing them up. This sequence of this like giant transformer thing. It's huge. It's as big as a building. It kind of reminds me of War of the Worlds, Tom Cruise's War of the Worlds, because it will grab people up like and put them in like, you know, the Terminator backpack and transport them back to San Francisco, probably. Skynet Central. So everyone's leaving. Gas is only $1.35 in 2009 or 2018. And this is where I believe the Terminator bat pods will appear. Now, I was kind of impressed by those at 3842. Explosions, of course, everyone likes explosions. Kyle says, we can't just run for it. We got to fight. And Marcus, I don't know what his backstory was, except for that he's, you know, an ex-con. Let's get back to Wikipedia. Because he has combat skills. Death row inmate Marcus Wright. Yeah, they don't really say why he's so capable, except that it's a Hollywood movie and he needs to be. So he releases all the fuel and they drive off in the gas truck or the diesel truck. And I believe they are going to try to smash into that Terminator transformer thing, knock it over, and then set it on fire. Yeah, they knocked it down. And Kyle blasts it with his trusty shotgun, the Cornwall oil fuel tank, blows it up. Star hands him the flare. And the thing explodes right as it's trying to target him. More explosions. It's a real explosion. It's not it's analog. It's not digital. We are at 4044. That thing comes out from the fire, basically unscathed. And finally, we get to see the Terminator bat pods. Which are a pretty cool design. They're just like motorcycle Terminators. But they don't transform into anything. They just have machine guns on the side. It's an interesting design. Kyle gets rid of one of them with an oil slick. And the other one, I cannot recall, as I guess we'll see how they get it. Sadie had a bath tonight, and she is very bored by this movie. She doesn't like Terminators and explosions, robots. Sam Worthington and Marcus has a fire axe. So how's he going to do this? He also has a grenade launcher. Okay, here we go. This kind of, yeah, they took it out with a grenade launcher. This sort of a Mad Max Fury Road reference. I think Fury Road hadn't happened yet. So just a plain old Mad Max reference. Driving around in this semi, smashing a bunch of cars. They've got one more Terminator Batpod. They release a chain because they're on an armored pickup or an armored tow car, and they just kind of drag it along, smashing it against other cars. It's very emotionally satisfying. Also, seems real, as in a real stunt. And this part doesn't seem real. It seems very fast and furious. The Batpod is still attached to the chain and swings up and gets caught in the engine of the drone that's ahead of him. Starr and Kyle Reese get caught by the giant Terminator transformer thingy and dropped into the cattle car. Marcus takes off, armed only with the fire axe. Oh, he's going to rescue them at 4410. He jumps out just as the truck explodes. Now he's on the top of the drone on the way to San Fran. Hacking through a panel before he's caught and grabbed and smacked down. And here come the Resistance fighter planes. That may be... And a missile strike. That thing goes down. They're in a canyon. 4455. Marcus falls into the river. Doesn't look like he survives, but spoiler alert, it's his movie. He's the star of it. And he has something more substantial than plot armor, which I will not reveal. I'll let the movie unfold. Miko says, I guess everybody is busy today. Yeah, it's disappointing, but it was an experiment to see if a modern movie or a more modern movie would attract a bigger audience. But Miko, I love movies. I love watching them with you guys, whether you are 1 or 100. I would be watching movies anyways, and just having this narrative in my head. So I might as well get it out. Basically, we'll keep watching movies until we get an audience for them. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep doing this. Watching movies is one of my favorite forms of entertainment. Told you Marcus would survive, much like Viggo Mortensen when he gets attacked by that warg and falls off the cliff. Marcus wakes up in the water, but not with Brago. He's still in the desert. I believe he's going to run into Moon Bloodgood, which was such a cool name. Let's look her up. Moon Bloodgood as Blair Williams, a no-nonsense, battle-hardened pilot of the Resistance who suffers from survivor's guilt and serves as a romantic interest for Marcus. Yeah, she has such a cool name, and she's not really working anymore. Her last role was on Magnum P.I. in 2018. But it looks like she has a kid, so she's probably retired. Super cool name, though. And she was in Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li. And back to the movie. We are at 46:47. Yeah, as I recall, he needs to save her. Moon Bloodgood is a pilot. She has ejected from her plane and is caught up in a tower. And Marcus saves her, or helps her. I don't think you're allowed to save anyone. All right, you're not allowed to save ladies anymore. They have to save themselves. But again, this is 2009. It's not 2023. And Marcus is holding her up, one-armed, and he is, spoiler alert, deceptively strong. Why is he so strong? Is it because he's the hero of the movie? Or could it be something else? This movie has an interesting twist, is what I'm trying to tell you. Kind of like Blade Runner. That's a hint for you. I'm sure they mentioned Blade Runner when they were pitching this movie. Marcus now wants to save Kyle Reese's star. But Blair is Moon Bloodgood. We're going to call her Moon Bloodgood because I like that name so much better than Blair. Says if you go that way, you're as good as dead as the people on the people on that transport are as good as dead. Don't worry, they will be saved. They're not going to be killing any little girls in this movie. Kyle Reese, being a natural leader at 4924, encouraging all the prisoners, telling them to stay alive. First duty is to survive. Back with Marcus and Moon Bloodgood, in the rain, in the dark, looking for shelter. They are going to find some marauders. Seems to be a little attraction between these two, and the Moon Bloodgood's all wet, from the rain. Marcus goes off to search for firewood. Note that Moon Bloodgood is now disarmed as she tries to dry off. And here come the marauders. And they've got her Colt 1911. Tries to convince them that they're all on the same side, but regrettably these marauders are not part of the resistance. And she takes care of it. She's pretty good at fighting, but regrettably she gets overpowered until Marcus comes back, and he has some extraordinary hand-to-hand skills. And he can certainly take a punch, and he easily takes all those guys out with an awesome headbutt. Now, where did he develop these skills? one wonders. It's a pretty cool fight at 5140. Moon Bloodgood shoots the last Marauder between the legs, which gives you an idea of what they were going to do. It's all implied, and he got what he deserved. They move on. Let's move on. They've got a fire which seems like would attract Terminators in the night. I mean, it's a pretty big bonfire. Very romantic. They're out in the open air, so I don't know why they would do that. And Moon Bloodgood says she's cold, so they gotta snuggle for warmth. Again, it's like that, just echoing that Kyle Reese, Sarah Connor romance. But again, in the movie theaters, you're wondering, where's Batman? I thought this was Batman's movie. Where's Christian Bale? What's going on? What is this about? It's not, the story is not compelling enough. Even if you are intimately familiar with the Terminator canon and the Terminator franchise, as I am. We are at 53:36, friends. Marcus asks, do you think people deserve a second chance? He's remembering his past life and no idea how he got where he is and why he has those skills. Recall, he signed something from Cyberdyne Systems. He signed a release, and we saw him be executed before the opening credits. So he's technically dead. Common and Christian Bale are outside, watching an explosion at night. Christian Bale survived this movie, but he's Christian Bale, and the only one who actually emerged with a career was Bryce Dallas Howard. Common was in John Wick 1 or 2, I believe John Wick 2, and he got some work, but he's not really a breakout star. I think his best role was in Hell on Wheels. One of those Terminator drone things crash in front of Common and John Connor. Oh, they were experimenting with the signal. They sent the signal up to zap that thing, and it disrupted. I guess it disrupts the link with Skynet and makes them vulnerable to attack. Back on the submarine with Michael Ironside. His name is Commander Ashdown. Metro says, wait, where is Terminator Salvation at? You mean time-wise? 55, 57? Or are you talking about where is it located? It's Los Angeles, I think. One would assume Los Angeles and the desert. Skynet is located in San Francisco, or Skynet HQ. We are back with Kyle Reese and Star. They are being unloaded into a facility that is guarded by T-600s. Metro says, I thought we were watching it. Well, I'm watching it, Metro. We are at 56:58. Kyle's trying to climb out. Or someone climbed out and got shot down. The T-600s are pretty cool. They're like 7 feet tall. They're obviously guys in suits, which works so much better than CGI or even stop motion. The original Terminator and Terminator 1, when he becomes an exoskeleton, was all done with stop motion. And animatronics, robots, or just puppets on with wires and pulleys. Metro says it shows Chapter 3 on Red Dead 2. Yeah, I want you to watch the movie on another screen. The link is in the video description. I just kind of put I put black and white Red Dead footage on in the background. Metro says, oh, you're just watching it. That's cool. Yes. Yes, I don't think I can watch it with me. I mean, I don't think I can watch it on this channel. I don't think I can stream it on this channel. That is against YouTube's terms of service, or I don't even want to try, really. Looks like Marcus got rescued. And he's in the operating room. Bryce Dallas Howard says he has a prosthetic limb. Hint, hint. At 58:48. And they knock him out. Yeah, for anyone who knows, the link to the movies is always in the video description. And I just put up black and white Red Dead footage as background for me to talk over. John Connor and Marcus finally meet, and Marcus's first question is John Connor's first question is, who built you? You think you're human? And Marcus answers, I am human. We get an intense look on Christian Bale's face. Marcus is all chained up. And he looks down at his torso, and he has a T-800 endoskeleton under his skin. So he's a cyborg. He didn't know it, but he's a cyborg with a human brain and human memories. It's a pretty cool twist at 1 hour and 28 seconds. Essentially, he is a failed experiment by Skynet and Helena Bonham Carter. The way they CGI'd his like Terminator torso is the same way they same digital makeup effect they used for Two-Face, where they just like paint one side of the face with green, so they can green screen it in. So they did the same thing to his torso. Very effective. And Marcus is trying to convince John Connor that he's human, not a Terminator. And regrettably, he's both. And Dallas Howard says that he is going to be disassembled because he has information on Skynet. Moon Bloodgood tries to convince her that he's not the enemy, that Marcus saved her. Now I cannot recall, but I believe she'll help him escape. We're back to Kyle and Star in the Skynet facility, concentration camp, dystopian railroad yard. Kyle finds a scrap of steel he can form into some kind of weapon. He gets identified by Skynet and snatched up. And we are back to the Resistance and Common. Plays Barnes. Looks like he's going to execute Marcus. Shoots him in the chest. Doesn't really do anything. Moon Bloodgood arrives. Says she'll watch him. But I believe she is going to help him escape. Marcus, that is. Yep, she's letting him down. It's interesting that he feels pain. Or he's screaming like he feels pain. At 104:58, John Connor is listening to another Sarah Connor tape. Messages from the past. You'd think he'd have them memorized by now. Bryce Dallas Howard is pregnant in this movie. I don't know if she was pregnant in real life. She kind of looks as if she is. And they just kind of wrote it into the script. But she's carrying John Connor's child. The thing with time travel movies is it's really easy just to mix everything up and reboot the entire franchise, which is what they did with Terminator Genisys, and then the one after that, which I haven't watched. Interestingly, both those movies star an older Arnold, but it doesn't really work. It's very disappointing. Terminator Genisys has Khaleesi. I forget what her name is. And the alarm goes off because they realize that Moon Bloodgood and Marcus have escaped. Looks like they are in an abandoned missile silo. So Marcus and Moon Bloodgood escape at 107. Marcus knows what he is now. They're in a minefield. They're running through a minefield. More explosions. It kind of works. I mean, it would be a fun summer movie, interesting diversion. I don't think I would ever have this on DVD or Blu-ray, and I don't think I'll watch it again after this viewing. Just wanted to share something interesting and talk about Terminators and Arnold. They're getting shot at and running away at 108. I think Moon Bloodgood just took a hit, but Marcus saves her and shields her with his Terminator exoskeleton. He has human emotions, it's like, and it's much like Blade Runner, what makes humanity, what defines a human. Where does the soul come from? I mean, if he was created by man, can he have a soul? Marcus escapes, grabs a clotheslines a motorcycle rider and spins out. He is on his way to San Francisco to save Kyle and Star. At 1:10 in 9 seconds, Moon Bloodgood has been captured. John Connor's in a helicopter trying to shoot him as Marcus runs through the forest looking for cover. I think that's another reason why this movie didn't work, is because they spent too much time not trusting Marcus, whereas we as the audience already trust Marcus. So you've got to get John Connor on board, Christian Bale. They've got to become allies relatively quick. And it would be easy enough for John Connor to say, I trust him. I go with my gut. But it fractures the audience. It's like it confuses them. It's like, whose side are we supposed to be on? Because basically, John Connor's the bad guy here because he's trying to kill Marcus. And Marcus has already proved himself to the viewers that he's a good guy. Again, it's bad writing. Or poor or faulty writing, or just too many writers. Most of these movies, these modern movies, are written by committee, by a bunch of writers, which will work for like comedies where you need joke, and you get a bunch of people writing jokes, but it doesn't really work for like a movie, a story. You need a singular vision. That's what James Cameron brought / brings to all of his projects, a singular vision. And he understands the formula. You need a romance, you need action, you need a situation that is bigger, a dramatic situation that is bigger than the viewers and the audience. John Connor his helicopter crashed, and there's more of those Terminator eel things in the water that he's trying to shoot out of the water at 112. They are circling him. I bet Marcus is going to save him, as I recall. Yeah, here comes Marcus, taking down one of those Terminator eel snake things. I like the bat pods better. Snaps its neck. Looks like Marcus has a human heart inside that Terminator endoskeleton, and John Connor finally believes him because those Terminator eel thingies were attacking him as well, and also now half of his face is gone, Marcus. So he's like half. So he's much like Arnold at the end of the Terminator 1. So you can see the endoskeleton. It's pretty cool. Again, it's like Two-Face in Batman Returns, I believe. It's all digital. Marcus convinces John Connor that he can find Kyle Reese. He hands him a radio and lets him go. Contact me on that. Let me know he's still alive. And he asks, "What are you?" And Marcus says, "I don't know." And he's swimming. Marcus is swimming. He has a T-800 endoskeleton, and somehow he's able to float. Or maybe he went underwater. Maybe he's walking at the under the water. Terminators, much like John Marston, can't swim. Moon Bloodgood tries to explain that she saw a man, not a machine. And John Connor lets her go. The Resistance is gearing up. They have more helicopters. Seems like they have an endless supply of these things. They keep crashing them. Another command center. They are going to launch a rescue once Marcus sends the location. For viewers, thanks for being here. Appreciate you, friends. Better than the 2 viewers we had. Regrettably, this is the worst Super Saturday movie night yet in terms of viewership. Next week we shall be watching Commando from 1986, starring Arnold. probably one of my favorite Arnold 80s movies, peak 80s as far as movies go. It'll be a lot of fun. And Michael Ironside says that John Connor is fired. He is no longer part of the resistance because he wants to hold off on the attack. John Connor gets on the radio and tells the resistance to stand down. We need a day to rescue Kyle Reese. Doesn't say that. But he's taking control and of his destiny. If even one bomb drops on Skynet before sunrise, our future will be lost. So he's telling everyone to stand down, going against command's wishes, orders, and this is how he becomes the leader of the resistance. Gives Bryce Dallas Howard a kiss, and they take off. He takes off. We are at 1:18:03. And at 1:18:18, John Connor says, "I'll be back." Got some more of those Terminator bat pods. I don't remember this part. Those things are cool. You can kind of see the form of the stunt driver. He's just hidden by all these Terminator parts. That's kind of cool. But John Connor clotheslines it so he can hack its brain and take it all the way to San Fran, I guess. Conveniently, there's a USB attachment. Yeah, he overrided the system and now he has a motorcycle. Kind of looks like a Ducati. Meanwhile, at the Skynet perimeter, the North Gate, have you forgotten about Marcus? Because Marcus has not forgotten about Skynet. We're at 1:19:38. And he basically just gives himself up. He gets scanned, and they know his name, Marcus Wright, but they can see that he's a Terminator or he's part machine, so they let him in. Marcus says, "I'm coming for you." Part of the reason that Terminator 1 worked, of course, is Arnold's undeniable star power and charisma, coupled with the quirkiness of his accent, and just the fact that he was the most impossible movie star. But he worked. Everyone loved him. Americans love an underdog. It's like he shouldn't have been a movie star. He shouldn't have been the greatest movie star of the 80s and perhaps from a historical perspective ever, but he was. Marcus makes it into like a computer room in Skynet Central. He's got a palm print, and he's able to access the mainframe, or rather, an AI version of Helena Bonham Carter. Who did she play? She is Dr. Kogan. And she's basically the voice of Skynet. He has synced with Skynet, and he can talk to her now. Much like the Borg Queen. He's disarming all the gun turrets just by using his brain. And he has located Kyle Reese. Sent the location to John Connor, who now has the plans. John Connor is single-handedly going to take on this Skynet Central. And Marcus accesses his personal files at 122 so we can see what's going on with Cyberdyne and see who he is actually. So basically, he's a failed T600, T800 with human memories, but he died in 2009. That's the twist, but we know about that now. We've known it for an hour. We are at 122:59. John Connor is inside, searching for Kyle Reese. Pops open an access panel and is hacking into a door frame. Sony Vaio. Remember Sony Vaios? Yeah, this is before smartphones. So anyways, he clicky click click went in. T800 is like walking by and doesn't notice him. Michael Ironsides in Skynet Central's command sub orders the resistance to attack, and they are not attacking unless Connor gives the order. John Connor repels in. Oh, he's got a Terminator eyeball or a Terminator retina, so that gives him access to like doors and computers and stuff. Because he just holds it up and they scan that. That's clever. And he's freeing the humans and looking for Kyle. Back to Sam Worthington. Marcus at 124, who I believe is just waking up. This is a flashback with his human body. Dr. Kogan says, "Welcome home, Marcus." It seems that he was... Marcus asks, "What am I?" And she says, "You are an infiltration prototype, the only one of your kind. Advanced Cyberdyne's work." He is a machine that thinks he's a man, much like Pinocchio. Every story has already been told. We just get variations. But his objective was to infiltrate and find Kyle Reese and find and identify Kyle Reese so that Skynet could get him. But his essential humanity, which they weren't able to like erase, gives them free will. The next generation after Sam Worthington or Marcus will be the T-800 Arnold. There's Star. Star's still safe at 126. She got saved by John Connor. John Connor has no idea who she is. And the twist set, the signal apparently will destroy the Resistance, not Skynet. I don't know how. It's just, they had a lot of writers and they're just throwing everything at this movie. Just a little bit of tension. Now you cannot release the signal because it will disable all of humanity's, the Resistance weapons. Or systems, I guess. I don't know. They're just making it up as they go along. Or rather, they used the Skynet. Skynet used the signal to track it back to the source. They blow up the submarine. That's the Resistance Command. However, Command has moved on organically to John Connor. And they say, Dr. Kogan says that Marcus was the perfect infiltration machine. The twist, which I'm going to spoil for you in Terminator Genisys, is John Connor is a Terminator. He was taken over by Terminator, which, was a really stupid twist. And at 128, we get an Arnold cameo. Pretty cool, where they find John Connor basically finds a T-800 facility. And it's CGI Arnold. He looks pretty good. I believe what they did was get a bodybuilder and with a green hoodie, and then they CGI'd Arnold's face onto it. Like classic Arnold from whenever that movie came out. 1984, 6, somewhere around there. And Marcus tears off his human skin. To pull out whatever was in his brain that is allowing Skynet to control him. The Skynet and he smashes the screen, which wouldn't really do anything, but that's showing the audience visually whose side he's on. Now he has to go save John Connor and Kyle Reese. Commercial. Skipped at 1:30:33. back to the hangar with Common and Moon Bloodgood and Bryce Dallas Howard. They are scrambling aircraft. Here comes the assistance. And Star nearly got shot by the Terminator, but Kyle saved her. Now they're running. I bet they'll run right into John Connor. Oh, he's still being tracked by the Arnold model. Yep, they ran right into him. And John Connor says, "Stay with me." And so now they're being chased. We are at 131.42. John Connor takes a hit from the Terminator. And the Terminator keeps coming. He's blasting him with like incendiary grenades, burning off the Arnold skin. Now he's at the chrome endoskeleton, which is always cool. Blasts a hole in the wall so they can escape. And now they are in a Terminator manufacturing facility where there's a bunch of assembly lines of chrome skulls but none of these guys are online, at least yet. It's fully automated. It looks like one of those car robot facilities. It's pretty cool. At 132.52. Pretty cool if you like Terminators. Let's put it that way. O-Dog is still here with a hand clap. Appreciate you, friend. Star is picking up something that seems essential. John Connor says, "Careful." Oh, these are the nuclear fuel cells. Life source for the T-800. Yeah, so they're going to grab a bunch of those things and blow up the place probably. Elevator's coming down. John Connor says, "This is it," in his Batman voice. They're being chased by another Terminator and getting back into the elevator at 134. The elevator came down, but there was nobody on it. John Connor says, "We've got to get to transport." Oh, we ran out of movie. Let's put that movie back up. O-Dog says, "On game, robbing a bank with your lady friend, I assume." Good times. Back at 134. You get the iconic sound of that Terminator endoskeleton footsteps thumping on the floor, the metal floor, which it's like echoes both Terminator 1 and 2. John Connor's trying to fight that thing. But you can't go hand to hand with a Terminator. It will never work. And here comes Marcus to save the day. Who can't actually go hand to hand with a Terminator? Being half Terminator himself. Five viewers towards the end of the movie. I appreciate you being here, friends. We are at 135.52. John Connor's rigging the nukes, while Marcus goes toe-to-toe with a T-800. However, he's a T-800 himself. These guys aren't really fighting as much as wrestling. They're just kind of body slamming each other into you know, pipes and poles. And brute strengthening each other. But it gives John Connor enough time to rig the explosives and set up a timer. The Terminator is targeting Marcus's heart, his human heart, and basically just punches him. Stops the heart. Vital signs terminated. They're using thermovision, which is red, and you know, you get a lot of like side screens and little details that is directly from Terminator 1. Here comes the resistance on a helicopter. Air support. It's Moon Bloodgood. She can also fly a helicopter. And they're evacuating the prisoners. And it looks like Bryce Dallas Howard is now going to save John Connor, who's deep in the facilities. At 137.57. That Terminator, the T-800, is still after John. Picks up a handy grenade launcher and blasts behind the Terminator and drops a bunch of molten steel on him. And because this is a T-800, not a T-1000, he just kind of melts. And at the last minute, he scratches John Connor's face and freezes and dies. Which is interesting because in the DVD extras of Terminator 1, you get to see John Connor, and he has scars on one side of his face, much like John Marston. John Connor finds Marcus, does some CPR, and he's going to save Marcus. He's going to zap him with a cable, I think. Yeah, here we go. Clear. Restart that heart. The Terminator shut down, but is coming back to life. At 1:40:21. Okay, Marcus is back online. John Connor gets like a piece of rebar through the heart. Marcus is able to rip off the head of the Terminator, but I don't remember John Connor dying in this movie. Are they going to give him a Terminator heart? How are they going to fix him? Marcus says, "Come on." Well, technically, Marcus has like the entire Skynet files in his brain, or is able to like connect with them. So they probably have some kind of Skynet technology that can fix him, I suppose. I don't know how he survives that. Maybe, I don't know how it's not fatal, but it's like he was like completely impaled on that thing. But I guess he survives because they're Blair's calling in a med team. Starr hands John Connor the detonation switch, and Connor blows the facility. And again, much like Judgment Day, Terminator 2, humanity is saved with the destruction of Skynet at 142. However, they'll just go back in time and rebuild Skynet. That's how they keep rebooting this franchise. Yeah, somehow in a field hospital, they're able to save John Connor. And the field hospital is basically an open air tent with netting, with camouflage netting in the desert. But it worked, okay? I mean, he's Batman. John Connor asks for Kyle. He's meeting his father, who is maybe 20 years younger than him. But that's time travel for you. Much like Arnold in Terminator 2, and also Terminator 1, Marcus has the Terminator hand now because the skin burned off. The flesh burned off. Oh, okay. Marcus is volunteering to give his Terminator heart to John Connor and he says everybody deserves a second chance because I guess John Connor is fading. He says everybody deserves a second chance. This is mine, to Moon Bloodgood, who cries. So yeah, he's sacrificing himself, much like Arnold in Terminator 2, if you remember that scene. And he's going to give him a human heart, or a Terminator heart, which is somehow compatible with humans. And I guess that works. He says goodbye to Starr. And lies down and finally dies. But technically, he's already dead. Sacrifices his life for John Connor and humanity. Marcus says, what is it that makes us human? It's not something you can program. You can't put it into a chip. It's the strength of the human heart. Okay, yeah, I don't have to read any more of that. It's interesting. The movie starts with his execution and ends again with his death. You know, it's like, it's Marcus's movie. John Connor survives, of course. And he says, he gets back on the radio. The battle has been won, but the war against the machines rages on. Skynet's global network remains strong, but we will not quit until all of it is destroyed. This is John Connor. There is no fate but what we make. And if you are hearing this, you are the resistance. There is no fate but what we make, as you know, is a direct quote from Terminator 2. And that, my friends, was Terminator Salvation. I appreciate all of you who are here. Movie nights are not the most successful of our live streams for the channel. But, you know, I'm going to keep doing them until we get an audience because I love movies. And I would be doing this on my own in IRL, just me and the dog. So we might as well do it with you guys, even if there's only like three people or no people. I'll just talk to the air, a voice in the wilderness, a madman in the desert, crying out, like Lear in the storm. Miko says, what makes us human? Being able to solve a CAPTCHA. Yes, Miko, I've heard that before. That's pretty funny. Miko says, thanks for the stream. Thank you for being here, Miko. I can always rely on you, and I appreciate you. Tomorrow we return with the cutscene commentary. We're going to do epilogues. And then on Monday at 7 p.m. PST, we are back to Red Dead 1 with part 2 of the Red Dead Redemption playthrough. I appreciate all of you. Shout out to the mods. O-Dog, thank you for being here. Miko, always great to talk to you, friend.